I don't know why, but you are watching the Madness Comic Network. Are you mental?
Welcome to Based on a True Story, Volume 6, Tales of the Underworld, where true crime collides with the furry, funny, and fierce world of the Dust Bunny Mafia. This brand new 32-page comic reimagines real mafia legends, Mad Dog Cole, John Gotti, and more, through the eyes of our animal mobsters. Think The Godfather meets Looney Tunes, packed with action, humor, and full-color storytelling.
The Madness Comic Network and comic-related madness proudly presents Madness Tuesday Morning Brew. Tune in to our content on Comic Talk with Pops Van Zant on YouTube.
Good morning, everybody. It's Tuesday, which means we get to about out. I'm going a little slow. Was up. Good morning, Carrie. Hey, nice to see you, lady. I was on 2 podcasts last night. Had a great time on both. I was on Critical Affection with Sarah White, and we talked about the movie Don't Look Up. And I flabbergasted her and her co-host Amanda. Kenny, hey man, nice to see you. With Path of the Pale Rider, of course, no one's ever seen anything like us. I'm really looking forward to picking Amanda's brain because she likes to biohack things. So we got into like the nitty gritty of Path and how bacteria is also affected. And I think that she could really, I could pick her brain about that and we could do something really cool. Good morning, Lou. Carrie, it's pronounced Calcaterra. Calcaterra. It's phonetic. It's pretty easy. It's just long, so it looks scary, but it's definitely an improvement from my maiden name, which was Szafranski, with an S and a Z right next to each other because my dad's good old Polish. And that one, no one would even try it. It was pretty funny. So after I was on Critical Affection, I went on at Frickin' Figures with Dustin and Zombie. I got to see some of the really cool stuff that they unboxed. They had huge figures. Like Dustin got a Mando with a Grogu, and Zombie had a ton of retailer perks sent to him too. Hey, good morning, William Russell. So I got to hang out with those big nerds and have a good time and nerd out. They went through my campaign in freaking detail. And if you haven't been here yet, if you haven't had a chance to go and look around, I encourage you to do so. We funded in 25 hours. It was incredible. That whole first day, it was just flying. And all the kind of exclusive stuff that I put on new for this campaign is all gone. So all of the Jack's Revenge hot sauce, the new flavor, gosh, my brain isn't making words yet. Wake up, brain. The Rebind book that I'm doing, Jurassic Park, that one went. And then, of course, the unique mug that I made, the blue POTPR mug that I was showing off. This went like third pledge. And of course, the Singularity, which is the brand new Funko Pop, is gone. So there's still a few more Funko Pops. There's a few more spots to have Gilbert do custom art for you. I think there's 4 of those. So there's a ton of good stuff still left. And of course, I always have fun stuff. There is still hot sauce. Just because the Jack's Revenge is gone doesn't mean you can't get hot sauce. And we have a ton of new shirts. I brought merch with me. So at some point, you know, I'm maybe not today, but I'll show off these in upcoming podcast just so you guys can see what some of these things actually look like, because I have them listed in the add-ons and I don't think anybody knows quite what they are. So like I have zipper bags and I have over-the-shoulder bags, buttons and hats and you name it. I got a Pet the Bear hat. It's so funny. I got baseball caps and trucker. Anyway, go spend some time. Click all the buttons. Kick the tires. Watch all the videos. We still have riddles to solve. I haven't had anybody tell me that they have solved this one yet. And I didn't make it too hard. You guys can do it. But it's a lot of fun. So I do. There's some people watching. I have a exclusive that I'm going to reveal today. Art. I have something coming. I haven't decided what we're doing with this. So I'm open for suggestions. I am going to put it up on this campaign. I'm not going to hang on to it until the next one. But let me show you guys. I'm going to take this down. I'm going to put this one. Ready? So this is the crossover you didn't know you wanted. The crossover you didn't know you needed. This, my friends, is Big Jude. This is a combination Jude St. Clair and Big James, because Gilbert has the funniest sense of humor. So super cool. I don't know. What should we do with this? He colored it and then he took it off. He's cool in black and white and in color. You guys have to tell me. I'm open for suggestions. I'll probably do some polls in the Path of the Pale Rider group where you guys can tell me where you want this, what you want this Big Jude to be, t-shirt, mug, what kind of merch. We can just do prints too, but it's just something cool. I could do wooden plaques too. My brain's thinking. So anyway, you got to see it first here, guys, because I love the Tuesday Morning Brew. Yeah, Num's already thinking poster. It's pretty cool, right? And just because we have a Big Jude doesn't mean that we won't have a Jude St. Bear. You're probably at that too. Let's see. Let me catch up here. Where's William? Gary says, I got a tattoo today. Ooh, spent 3 hours telling the about Path of the Pale Rider. Was showing all your cool stuff to offer in your campaign, and he turned and told his friend through it all. Oh, that was nice. Thank you. Through the window in the room he has. That's great. Absolutely. You know what, Kenny? I'm calling in favors for issue 7. I love talking with you. I'm really interested, but I was looking at 6, and then 7 is our big one. So I was like, should I utilize Kenny for this one? But it's probably going to be next campaign, just because we have a Claire Bear. I like it. We can put him in a tutu as well. So yeah, absolutely, we'll be in touch. I promise. Carrie says, I even left one of the Meg. Oh, that was nice. Thank you, guys. What? I'm not special enough for a group? You could put it in a tote bag poster that Epic. Yeah. I don't know. Yes, you are special enough for group. Just all you have to do is go Path of the Pale Rider group and say, you have to answer one question. One question. Greg, you're in that group, right? Here is my guest today, everybody. This is Greg Moquin. Welcome to the show.
Hey.
Hi. Are you in the Pale Rider group?
Oh, yeah, I think I am.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it's easy. All you have to do is answer one question, which is like, do you like comics?
Yeah.
And I've had people, you can put anything you want there. As long as you put something, you get in. But it's like, it's just to keep the scammers out. You know what I mean? Because they come in and they start posting like videos and nonsense when you have to like boot them out and crap. Too much work. Carrie says, hey, Greg.
Oh, hey.
Good morning. How are you? Are you doing all right?
Yeah, I'm okay.
Yeah? Remind me where you are in the country.
Upstate New York.
Whoa. Are you guys cold right now?
Yep.
Yeah.
I don't like winter, so.
I don't either. We moved to Texas. You should come. You should come to Texas. It was 80 yesterday, Greg.
Yeah.
It's gonna get cold again. It will. I mean, we don't get past cold until like end of February, but but it's what's cold. I mean, like we can still get down into freezing. Exactly. I know. Hey, I'm from Michigan. I know what -40 feels like. That's stupid. We're like, you didn't know you have that little organ in your nose that does the thing when you breathe when it's so cold. That's just weird.
What?
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you not know? There's something in your nose that when it's so cold and you're breathing in the air, it will actually, you can feel it move. And what it's trying to do is expand so that it warms up the air before it comes into your lungs. I swear this is a thing.
Oh, wow. Love how New Yorkers say coffee. No, I don't say it like that.
I was gonna say I don't peg you as from New York just because I don't hear that accent. Not like I hear it from like George Medina.
I talked to a girl like years ago from Georgia, and I'm like, oh, I like your accent. She's like, I like yours. I was like, I don't have an accent.
From what? And I mean,
Georgia.
but I mean,
yeah. Like, she actually sounds like, hey, y'all. And I'm like, oh my God, that's awesome. I'm like, I don't have an accent. I'm just talking.
But that right there, I'm just talking. That was it. It came out. Ooh, we need standee of that art. That's an idea. Life size standee, Nem.
Big. That would be like 6 feet.
Yeah, like that thing is giant. Oh, thank you for indulging me. I'm from England and you have an accent. Actually, Kara, I think you have the accent, but it's all right. Oh, goodness. So, Greg, welcome to 2025. Are you one of those people that has the entire year planned out, or are you like me? I'm like, I plan on doing these things, but we'll see when they get done.
Me and Dylan like plan things out like at the end of December usually.
Yeah.
If we can. And
define plan though. Do you have like dates that things are going to release? Or do you have like general idea of what you're going to tackle?
Like a month for like Kickstarters and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So and then like the dates come like when we get closer to like when things are finishing. Like we're still not done with the Kickstarter page, but it's to a point like someone could look at it and it doesn't look like nothing. But yeah.
That's funny.
Yeah, I usually have Josh Harris, who's the artist for Mittens. Like,
Yeah.
he used to do my Kickstarters, and I used to pay him for that, and it looked all nice and stuff. And now, like, Dylan does graphic design and stuff, so
Okay.
he knows what he's doing. It's just like I'm like, well, now you have to do this because I can't do this. So,
You can stop
I'm
it.
like, I tried to do it in Canva, and I'm like, it just doesn't look as good. And then he, like, I don't know, just makes things look better, and I'm like, yeah.
You could totally do it. It's just a matter of sitting
I
down
did
and
Yeah, I did do one or two other people's Kickstarters. Like, I set them up like a couple years ago, and that's when like Canva like first started. And I was like, he's like, this looks awesome. It's like, it looks like shit. What are you talking about?
well, I mean, it's all about exposure. If they haven't seen one before, it just looks awesome because it's theirs. You know what I mean? But yeah, it's like you have to go look at other people's stuff and be like, oh, okay, now I know what we should kind of do. Good morning, everybody. Hey, I was already talking, Dustin and Zombie. Good morning. We were up late talking last night, weren't we? It was like, I think I went to bed at 1:00 after hanging out on their show. So I had a blast. In fact, Dustin said, thank you for coming on the show. And I was already passed out. So absolutely good time. If you guys want to go talk about more nerd stuff, I recommend going on at Frickin' Figures. They have other shows as well. We have a whole list on the madness, speaking of. So you can check those out. What's this? I found a realistic looking popped out eyeball. We haven't seen Ellie in a while. I wonder how decayed she is at this point. Yep, 2 a.m. Had to go watch Long Legs. Sorry, Zombie. Funny story. They were going to review the movie Long Legs for a different show. And Zombie went and pulled up a Nicolas Cage movie that was not Long Legs and watched it. Watched the completely wrong movie. It's like, you would have been so lost when that would have been funny though. It would have been a funny episode. Anyway, I think I need more caffeine or less caffeine. I haven't figured that out yet. So, Greg, so you have 2025 lined up. What's coming? How many projects?
We're gonna try to do, is it 5, maybe 4? So there's Seer Chronicles 3, which I wanted to do last year.
Yeah.
That
Wait,
it's been taking forever. And then yeah.
I
And then
haven't read this one yet from you. I've read Mittens. I've read Ink. Mittens is my kid's favorite, by the way. That one, and then there's an alien in my toilet. Those are their two favorite. I just got Katie Shaw, The Dragon Child, but I haven't let my daughter touch it yet because she bound the book. So I was like, this it's super nice, and I want it first before you touch it. So so what's this one about?
So this is our like flagship series. Title, whatever. It's really funny because like Mittens is like the go-to. Like,
yeah,
we were at Saratoga Comic-Con, which is like not that far from where I live, and we were at the fall show, and then someone came up to our table and they're like, "Oh, you're the cat guy," and I'm like,
like that's how you're known.
Okay,
that's so funny.
That's because we actually had plushies like at a certain point.
Yeah.
And, we weren't selling any of them at that show. Like, we were selling them. It's just like I was saying to Dylan, kind of near the end of the show, I was like, I would like to sell like one. And then like shortly after that, because I'm like, Corissa sells a bunch of her shit all the time. So then like a couple just came up to the table and then they're like, so we don't like really read comics. I'm like, why are you here? So
don't you love that?
So, but those like because we have the panda plushie, which is our bounty hunter character Griff, and then we have Mittens. So they're like, but we'll take that. And then I'm like, okay, well now you have to get the comic since you're taking the plushie. So you have to read it.
Well, give it to your kid. Let them read it.
So they bought that, and I'm like, oh my god, they actually bought them. And then his dad came to like help us like get the stuff out of the convention later at night, and he bought 2 plushies. So I was like, what are you gonna do with these? He's like, I don't know, put them on my desk. I was like, okay. But yeah, this is our flagship title, and it's basically a conspiracy kind of thing.
Carrie, you have a cat plushie?
They're all out, but I
Aw.
have to make more. Well, I don't make them. I
Yeah.
hire a person, and then they do their job. That Corissa gave me. So
Poor Corissa. It's we were talking about this last night on the show too with Dustin and Zombie, where it's like sometimes you don't share your ideas until you put them out because then everybody wants to do it. You know what I mean? I don't think anybody was doing plushies until Corissa came around.
no,
Maybe a
and then
couple.
Travis is always like,
Travis is always digging on her. He's like, "Oh, plushies are dumb," and then everybody does plushies now, so it's just funny.
yeah, John Westoff and
Whatever. Plushies are great. I ended up doing plushies. I wasn't gonna do them for the reason because that's her thing. You know what I mean? And she was like,
it just like made sense. And I told Josh, and I was like,
"Yeah, well,
what
for
if we
me,
had a plushie?" He's like, "Yeah,
kids love plushies."
yeah." So
If you're doing like a mittens, like my kids are 11 and 7. They're in that prime age, your readership, and they love plushies. So if it's like get a plushie and a free comic, they're going to be there every day. And it doesn't matter how much that plushie could cost, like $75. And they're like, but it comes with a free comic.
yeah,
That would be us. We would be there. Damn it. She heard cat plushies.
For the next Kickstarter for Mittens, which is going to be our trade, which is another project that's definitely coming out. Pretty sure we're gonna do
we're gonna have to do that, Zombie. Oh, you're gonna do what? You're gonna do Mittens?
Commissioner Quackers, which is the duck character.
Duck?
Yeah, and Josh's like, "Oh, that'd be really good because like his beak and everything," and I was like, "Yeah,
that'll be cute."
Yeah. So, and then usually when I get one made, I usually get the other ones that I previously made if I have the money. So yeah, I'll have more Mittens and Griff plushies. The only thing about the Griff plushie is it has like 3D printed pieces, like the shoulder pads and the staff, and and the staff broke in the mail for Josh's mom, but then she just gave it to him. But there's like a little rubber band on another piece of the 3D printed staff, and like I accidentally like somehow like bent it, and then that was the one that I gave to her. I was like, oh geez, whoops, and she's like, oh no, it broke, and I'm like, oh. Whoops.
Carissa was having that problem too. There was one of the staffs for Anubis that every time she would ship it, it just showed up destroyed. So
yeah, like they came fine, like they were in like a padded thing, and then like
odd.
I threw the plushies like in boxes. I didn't throw them, but
I don't know why they're broken.
And then Josh was like, "Well, you could have used like bubble wrap," and I'm like, "Yeah, I didn't even think of that." I was like, "Look,
yeah,
here we go." So yeah, now
reinforce the stick with cardboard or something. I don't know.
Yeah, I could have done that too. He's like, you could have like taped it to the box. I was like, that's a good idea. I wasn't thinking. I was just like, I had it already wrapped around his paw. Like Panda's my favorite like animal, so I was like, oh. So I was wrapped around his paw, and then like I just put it like in the box, and I'm like, that should be fine. But I'm like, oh, the post office sucks. So, and then I went to a small post office like that's near my house. Because I was like, oh, they probably won't care about this whole like shipping issue since it's a smaller. Do you mean Mittens? But yeah.
Yes.
How do you know that? I bet that. Oh, the third one. Yeah, no, he's still working on it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I backed that third one too. It's coming. It's coming.
Yeah. He's like,
I got ink,
a little more than halfway. Oh, yeah.
I showed that off when I got it because I love that cover. That's such a cool cover. The on the cross.
Wait, what?
The one where he's like
yeah.
Spread out. He's on like a cross. It's like that super artsy. Looks painted. It's so cool. That would be a great tattoo, Greg.
Yeah. I don't know
I
where I
dig
would.
it out, but I got a bunch of stuff over it. Yeah. You could do it
If I
all
didn't
the
have
way
the
across your
Deadpool
back.
thing, if I didn't have the Deadpool tattoo, I would have probably put the
Oh,
key
I was
there.
like, you could go full on John Wick and have it on your back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I'm weird and I like looking at the tattoos. I even look
Yeah.
like as the needles digging into my skin because I'm
Yeah.
weird. But yeah, so I don't know if I would ever get a back tattoo, but
I have one and I forget that I have it because it's exactly like you don't see it. You don't ever
yeah,
see it, right?
yeah, and then like
So,
winter, I'm wearing like a hoodie or whatever, and then I'm at like a job and nobody knows I have tattoos, and then I
well,
like take
that's
the hoodie off and they're like, "Oh, so you're like gangster?" I was like, "Yeah." At my last job, like my friend Justin's like, "Oh, you think you're a badass now?" I was like, "Yeah."
you're like, it's a tattoo of mittens. But still, that would be hilarious.
Almost fell asleep getting something like that.
Oh, I'm totally jumping trains and seeing shiny things today, like squirrel. So back to Seer Chronicles. Because this one's the first one that you guys are releasing. So this is, like you said, your flagship. Heroes, villains, Seer City. So yeah, I mean, I could see why it's your flagship. Your Seer Nova, and this is a Seer Chronicles.
Yeah.
Are you ready to join the chaos? And this is already going to be issue 3 on this.
Yeah.
See, I missed it.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's our flagship, and it's like taking the longest to like get an art team that's solid.
Well, I
So
mean, that happens.
yeah, so like so this was the first issue of this was supposed to be our first comic that was supposed to be published by us, and then it ended up being Ink, and then not everybody, but like a bunch of people liked Ink, and I was like, oh, okay. So
Yeah.
cool. So then just trying to figure out who was going to be the artist for this, because we had the first artist for the first issue, and then he put things in there, the comic, that didn't make any sense.
Oh, boom.
Like so we have like a 3D map that we made through Unity, like
What's
a video
that?
game. It's a video game software.
Okay.
We didn't do it. My friend Scott did, because I'm not that smart. So we take the map, and that map is actually like from Google Maps, like around like where I live.
Okay.
We built it up, so it's like New York City kind of. And he was adding buildings that weren't where they're supposed to be, and then he put like Ed Sheeran poster on a wall, and I'm like, I don't even like Ed Sheeran.
Why?
And he's like, but it's funny, and I'm like, I don't
get it.
I'm like, I don't care. Can you take that out of there? And like, we're all about promoting like indie stuff. He's not that.
Right.
So, like in another series that's coming out this year, it's a new, like brand new series. There's a shirt from a band that's like a band that I actually listen to, but they're like kind of like they're semi-pro, like they're like some people would know them, but like I got like the okay for them to like put the shirt in there. So, yeah, that's kind of cool. But yeah, so that artist like put random stuff in the first issue, and then it looked off, and the story wasn't complete because the first issue was only like 24 pages, and then we had the first issue remastered later on, which I should have just waited. And then our friend Luke Anderson did that, and then it was way longer. It was like 48 pages.
Oh shoot!
We had way more story, like, so it would make more sense, because it's like just two major like origin stories.
Okay.
It's the dude in the red. That's Matthew Harding.
He looks scary.
Yeah, and he's like a mix of Freddy Krueger and Nate.
Okay, I get it. I was like, he's a little off. I can tell.
Yeah, he definitely looks like Freddy Krueger, just because like he's all like burned and everything. Yeah. So and then the dude in the green, is John Benson, and that's like he's kind of like the main character, but there's so many different main characters in it because it's
He's
just
a
like
thinker.
meme.
Is he a smart guy, or is he he's glowing green?
So in the first issue, he was a firefighter. He
Yeah.
went into this like sketchy research lab, which is totally not General Electric because I'm like very close to where that is, and it's in the same area, but it's not called that. And
Right.
uh, there's a fire. He dies in the fire, saving like a janitor. Um, he's reborn, and then he has like this green glowing skin under his skin because like his skin like heals over that, and then like anytime you'll see in the third issue, actually this issue, that if he like punches hard enough, his skin like burns away, and then it shows like
Ew.
the rock skin. It's really cool. And
Ooh.
so Hector, the artist on this, who is supposed to be our new artist going forward, but he has a life and now a kid and stuff. So
Shoot.
like, oh, how dare you have a life?
Ah.
So now the inker that's on this is going to be our artist, and I'm like,
Okay.
you can't run away now.
Right. That's
Um,
gosh. You know,
so yeah,
it's such a hard, you know, you want people to be successful, you want people to get married and have children, and you know what I mean, but then it's like, well, comic needs to take a back seat for a little bit because life happens. And so what do? Do you wait for that artist? Do you find a new one? Because it directly impacts the success of the comic, you know.
yeah.
So it's that fine line of, do I chain my artist in my basement, or do I let them live their life?
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
benefits to both. So,
And like I plan things kind of ahead. Like I have this whole universe.
well, I try.
So yeah. And yeah, we have our own newspaper that's called the Daily Journal
Cool.
in that, and it's actually how we do like recaps for the Seer Chronicles. And the articles are actually like things that are happening in the universe that we just don't show, or some of the things are actually like from a previous comic.
That's
So
a great idea.
yeah. Like there's one. Oh, Hearts on Fire, that's the that's based on the Matthew Harding guy, the guy that's all scary to you.
He's pretty scary. I don't know. Looks
um
messed up.
Hero
Looking for an
Firefighter.
explosion of flavor.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's actually based on, there's a burger joint that's in some other comic of one of our friends. His name's Gavin, and he has a comic. I don't know if he hasn't been doing it for a while, but it's called Stone Legacy, and in his like universe there's a burger joint called Ground Zero Burger. So I'm like, can we have that design as like a shirt? And that's an actual like ad. We have to like add it back to our new website, but you can actually use that code, and you could actually like get like a discount like in our web store.
That's hilarious. So
Yeah,
it's like a little Easter egg hidden code, discount
Yeah.
code. That's cool. I didn't realize you could put so much stuff on a pre-launch page. That's amazing. Mine's
Yeah.
like a paragraph, and I was like, I'm looking at this. I'm like, I did not utilize this space well.
They just like
Yeah.
did like a bunch of new stuff that you could do to it. Like as we were working on this one, I was like, oh, okay. And then it says add trailer here, which he's still got to do that.
That's videos are a love-hate relationship with Kickstarter. You put a ton of work into them. People generally watch 3 seconds and turn them off, but they always tell you that if you have a video, you're more likely to get funded. So there's just that love-hate relationship. Hi, Woody. Good morning.
Yeah.
What do you guys, how do you tackle it? Do you do like the 1-minute video with art and music? Do you talk? A lot of times I've heard people say like, you have to show up in your video. And I've done them where I have showed up, and I've done them where I don't show up. And it's like, I get the same results either way.
Well,
What's
the
your
ones that
thoughts?
I've seen that you've done are funny, but
I don't do those all the time. Like
Yeah.
this one, it's animated. You know what I mean? So, but again, it's like I'm getting the same views on it that I did when I hit myself with the car. So I don't know. You tell me.
like so for Mittens, we do animated just because like I'm like, I feel like I'm boring when I'm talking, so I don't want people to have to deal with that. So, but for this one, Dylan's like, yeah, you're gonna have like a talking part at the end of the video. It's like,
Okay.
oh, cool. But yeah, I don't know. Sometimes when I'm like doing a video, it seems like I'm a robot, but like I have my own podcast, so it just doesn't make any sense.
Well, it's just your own perception. I hate
Yeah.
hearing. It's like you hate hearing your own voice. I hate hearing my own voice.
Yeah, that's
You know what I mean? Because like I don't sound like that to me. Why do I sound like that? Yeah. And I like I put out so many videos. I just like I cringe and I see myself and I'm like, oh well, it is what it is. But
yeah, like when I was a kid, me and my friends like around our neighborhood used to like, and my brother, we used to do like home videos, and I'm like, oh, my voice sounds like that.
Yeah. Or like hearing your voice on your voicemail.
Yeah.
Or I don't know, all of that. It's just like, I don't sound like that. Dang it.
Yeah.
Ugh. That's why I always ask my husband to do voiceover, and he's like, no.
Yeah.
I'm like, come on. What?
Yeah, that article that's on the bottom of that newspaper page is actually ink, so it's all connected.
Ooh. And I love universes that like overlap. So it's like,
yeah,
this is awesome.
And
ad trailer here.
Yep. Yeah.
Well, all right, so pitch. I know we know this is superheroes and villains, and we got some dudes here, but what's the pitch for what we're getting ourselves into?
So some people haven't read the second one.
Yeah, no spoilers.
yeah, but it literally takes place right after the second one. So there's like a whole chase scene. There's the mafias that are in Seer City, and they're like kind of like, you know, running away after this like arms deal that kind of went bad. And then there's a new vigilante, which is the other guy that's on the cover. That's
in the blue.
Also, yeah, his name is Night Watch, and he's my vigilante character. Like, it's based off of me, but you know, the jacked version of me.
I mean, I have to say, you are probably all of these characters are probably based off of a piece of you. That's how it works.
Yeah, even the murderer guy. Yeah,
yeah. Have you read my books? I messed up too, so I feel you.
I can write stuff about cats in space, and I can write murder. So
that's the thing. I have this theory that normal people that look like us, that like present normal, are really the ones that are, you know, messed up, but we just put it in our art. Like we draw it, we write it, and then we can appear normal. It's the people that don't let it out that look like they're crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I even have a serial killer like comic that is going to be out at some point. So.
Okay. But okay, so this one is going to drop when, you think?
February 19th.
Okay, so that's right around the corner. So remember, here's the pre-launch link, everybody. So I know I show a ton of campaigns every week. If it's something that you like, go sign up for pre-launch so you don't forget, because we're going to be talking, you know what I mean? Like we talk about so many projects. I don't want you to miss out. Do you have any exclusives or like early bird things that people can grab right when you launch?
We actually have to make an early bird here because I've never done one of those before.
Yeah.
And I keep forgetting to tell Dylan like we have to do that. Because he's like, I think we're like good on like rewards. I'm like, no, we still need like 2. We have 8, I think, but like there's the early bird one that I want to actually try, and we have a coffee mug which we've never done before, which is kind of cool. So, yeah, and it's literally the Matthew dude. His villain name is called Bonkers. So
nice.
He's like doing this and like out of control. So that's like that design on part of the mug, and that says don't talk to me until I have my coffee or something like that. So.
Like, yeah, okay, I can relate to that.
So yeah, so that's
really
pretty cool.
I'll tell you, hot sauce, man. If you put hot sauce.
Yeah.
So far, I'm the only one doing that, but I was gonna, you know, people love the hot sauce. Foodies, people are foodies, which is crazy. Yeah.
We have our own like soda and any other kind of thing you could think of, like a brand. We already have those. It's just like we have to like make them.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I know someone else did coffee grounds too.
Yep. Yeah, I know someone that did that. Yeah. Lucky 33 actually made their own like coffee, and then well, they had someone make the coffee, but they
they put it in a bag and they put their logo on it, which was
Yep.
cool because you could tie it into the comic.
Yeah.
I just want coffee for my own personal because I'm tired all the time. Anyway, moving on. So then after this one that launches in February, what's next on the plan?
It's launching on my birthday. Yeah, because it's my character. So it's Night Watch, and it's actually all art, everything was done by Fish Lee. So
oh my gosh.
Yeah, he's very, very fast. Like he's like, I feel like I'm slow. And I'm like, are you serious? This is the fastest I've ever gotten pages from anybody.
Someone say hot sauce. Good morning. If the creator is able, prefer to hear from them than an AI voice. Yeah, this is true.
No, I never do like an AI voice.
No, we don't mean AI voice, but like my video this time, Lou, I'm not in it at all. It's just animated and it has like words that you read on the screen. I don't make an appearance. But again, it's like when I do make an appearance and I talk about everything, I feel like it's more than a minute. And so you get yelled at if you're over a minute, and you also get yelled at if you're not in the video. You just can't make I'll just run myself over with a car and be like, Path of the Pale Rider. That's it. That's all I'm going to do. It won't work. There's always a critic. So,
yeah.
So, okay. So then Night Watch, this blue character, everybody, he's getting his own spinoff.
Yeah. It's actually a 3-issue. Well, the first plot arc is, it's 3 issues, and it's the story before the Seer Chronicles. So it's like him becoming Night Watch.
Yeah. Does he get electrocuted? I feel like there's electricity involved.
But he doesn't have any actual like superpowers.
Oh, he's Batman.
He's like a championship like MMA fighter, and then it's not Ace Blade. So he's an MMA fighter, and then he just doesn't want to be that anymore, and he wants to actually like try to find his best friend's killer. So that's what it's about. And then
I always think that's interesting when you have characters that like have the skills to make a difference, but they're not police or armed, you know what I mean? They're not being utilized. And it's like, why don't I they're waiting for someone to find this killer, and it's like, it's not happening. There's no leads. And it's like, I can just go do it myself.
Yeah.
And then they become the vigilante. That's how it goes. I feel like the AI voice lacks the energy. Yeah, 100%. Those AI voices
I also lack the energy when I'm talking.
Greg channels his inner AI voice.
My name is Jack.
You're like, AI voice? No, that's just Greg. Like, people have resting bitch voice.
That's me.
Greg has resting AI voice. That's funny. You know what, Zombie? I was thinking I need to do another Ellie because we have the chicken nugget. I need to do look. Chicken nuggets. We should do a hot sauce one, right? Yeah, I think we should.
Hot sauce chicken.
Hot sauce.
Oh, okay. Oh.
Maybe I'll have Karen do it. All right. So then that comes out on your birthday? When's your birthday?
April 2nd.
April 2nd. At least it's not April 1st.
No, my mom was really hoping I wasn't going to be born on that, but I would have loved if I was. So
why?
Because I would have just joked about it the entire time.
Oh, but then people will call you a joke. Like, you're a joker.
So sometimes when people would ask, like, oh, when's your birthday? And I'm like, oh, I'm like a day after being a fool.
You're like so close.
Yeah.
Didn't quite get there.
So yeah, that's April 2nd, and then that goes until May 2nd, probably.
Okay.
We still gotta build the Kickstarter for that.
Oh gosh. At least now it's you guys. I'm surprised. What is this runner label first? Oh no, Zombie. Sorry. Because we're like dissing April 1st. He's like, what the? What was I gonna say? I forgot. Greg, you're now host of the show. We'll switch it over. Ready? Greg's host.
Oh.
Greg's in charge. I'm just kidding. I'm just being silly. All right. So that one is going April to May.
Yep, April, and like I'll be in Disney at like the end of April to May. So like while that's going on, yeah, for the second time ever in my
what?
Yeah,
How are you gonna do Disney
ever in my life?
and run a Kickstarter?
Because my friends were like, "You want to go to Disney?" And I'm like,
Yeah,
be the second time ever in my life. So sure, I guess I would rather like to go to like Harry Potter World, but
yeah,
because I'm a Harry Potter nerd. But yeah, so
Lupins, are you born on May the 4th or Revenge of the 5th? So you're going to be running a Kickstarter from Disney. Oh, they're going to love you. I'm like, can't talk right now. I need to go on the computer. I'm like, get in line.
Oh no, I'll just check my phone every like 5 seconds.
Yeah.
Even when I was at my younger brother's bachelor party and we were like in the woods being murdered by Jason Voorhees. No, so we were in the woods.
Is that a thing? Is that? I think that's a thing, isn't it? Where you can sign up to have like a night where you have to survive the night. It's
Really?
a thing. It's like, yeah, there's a camp you can sign up for, and like a serial killer chases you through the camp. That's part of like what you sign up for. And then if it's like tag, it's like a long game of tag all night. But if they touch you, then you're out.
He's like, boom, drops Kickstarter, then boom, peace out.
Dead. Immediately dead. Peace out to Disney. Yeah. Yeah, he's just going to be on the phone the whole time. And they're like taking family pictures with the ears on. Greg's on his phone.
They'll be like, who are you? All the people you talk to are right here. I'm like, no. Money.
Nope. Maybe with Hedwig and design it. I made Hedwig and designed and made Luna Lovegood. Luna Lovegood, yeah. What are you crocheting them, Carrie? Carrie crochets. Drop it like it's hot. Like the Kickstarter, drop it. Yeah, Greg, just go ahead and launch your Kickstarter on our show today. We'll do a launch party. We're like, who needs a video? You don't need a video. Just launch it, man.
It's not done yet. Like we still need the add-ons graphic too, and the backer goals, which I have to like find all the PDFs that people are like, you can use mine, and I'm like, oh. And then some people like didn't understand that post question. Like I was like, does anybody have like a PDF that they want to give as a backer goal? And some people were like, do people actually do that? Like,
where have you been? Yeah.
Talking about, and they're like, does it do anything for like me if I gave you one? I was like, you'd be nice. Like, I don't know.
Well, I think everybody wins with that because me as a creator, when I give Greg my PDF, he's introducing me and Path of the Pale Rider to all of his readers. They have the opportunity to read it if they choose, right? And if it's like, oh, a Western and what's this? Undead Bear? I'll read it, But then, it doesn't cost me anything. It's free advertising. For Greg, it rewards his backers, both physical and digital, right? And that's the thing is, I always feel bad with stretch goals, physical stretch goals, because those digital backers are important too, So at least with the PDF bundles that you hand out, the digital backers are also rewarded with those.
Yeah.
And then the backers, they win because they get a bunch of free stuff to read. So everybody wins. Greg, you can have mine. I think I've sent it to you before, but if you don't, I mean, like so many people have sent me links. You know what I mean? I'll send it to you again. You can use it.
Yeah, I know one is Bad Wabbit by Anthony Castro. So
cool.
That's definitely one that I remember. And then there's Burlap, but it's like one of the versions of that from Jesse Bear. So he's cool, but he's been like out of the comics thing for like a minute. So like, oh yeah, I'll give you that. I'm like, oh okay.
Why not? I mean, again, it's different if you're on issue 1. Like you can't share your issue 1 if you're trying to Kickstarter your issue 1. Like that's probably not a good idea to give that for free. But if you're further in your series, like I am, I'm on 6. It's like, please read issue 1. Absolutely. It's on, Global Comic. It's everywhere. You know what I mean? At this point, you could read it. So, all right. So we have Seer Nova Chronicles, and then we have, what's his name? Dead? No,
Night Watch.
Night Watch. I was going to say a different one. That's a different character. Someone else is writing. I was like, nope, that's not it. Night Watch. So that's coming. And then what's next? Mitten's got to be in there somewhere.
And then, so we were going to do like Ink, like the trade.
Yeah.
But,
Yeah.
I don't know where to really fit it.
Hmm.
So, because I don't want to so Night Watch will end in May. And then I'm like, June was like kind of a terrible month last year to do a Kickstarter. Like it seemed like that. So I'm just like,
I didn't have I always am successful. I'm never going to complain about my numbers because I do well.
Still it funded the third one.
Right, absolutely. But yeah, compared to other ones, I feel like it was less. Just I don't know if it was the time. People are busy in the summer, they're not around.
Yeah, and they're outside and they're actually like having a life. They're like,
oh yeah, that
doing as much, I guess. But
June?
Yeah. So it would have been in June, or because July is like my mittens month. Like it's always mittens. So
it has to be mittens.
So July, like some point in July, is the mittens trade. So that's 1 to 3.
So how many issues are going to be in the mittens trade?
So there's the 3 issues. There's the ash can that he's also drawing, which is Treasure of the Catfish. And then there's another ash can I think that's going to be in there. And then there's also going to be part of the story from the one shot of Griff's story, which that's going to be coming out next year. It's like it shows him as a kid, and it's not like him as a kid the entire time, but it's like flashbacks. But that is like literally the part of the story that you're going to see in the trade, is that, because it's pretty like drama filled.
Love drama.
Yeah,
I love it.
Yeah. So, but his one shot is basically him like just trying to find mittens and like doing his one last job, and then that connects into the next plot arc of mittens. So,
gotcha.
All connected.
I'm excited. It's funny now that I've done a trade. I'm so looking forward to doing the next one. It's like it's one of those things that it was very daunting. I wasn't sure how it was going to go, having never done one. But it's like I love our trade. I love it. So of course we're going to do 4 issues. You haven't done one? You're doing 2 this year.
Well, we're going to actually do 3
more. 3 trades. Oh, it's the year of the trade. I love it.
Yeah. And then October is our 3rd and final issue of Chronicles of Horror, which is our horror anthology. But it's called Nightmare at Camp Lovejoy. So
nice.
Yeah. And it's
that's the camp I was talking about earlier, where they play murderous tag.
Yeah. And Friday the 13th is my favorite like horror franchise. So it's a mix of that and the Truman Show. And yeah. So basically all the writers that I like that were interested, they're like, what is it about? And I just said that as the pitch, and they're like, oh.
That was me. I was my wheels just started to turn. I was like,
instead of just doing the 3rd issue for that Kickstarter, we're just doing it as a trade, and then because me and Josh like kind of want to just be done with the anthology and then move on.
I feel you.
Yeah.
That's always the debate though. Do you do the art first and then release the trade? Or do you do, like for me, how I do 4 issues? Do I do 3 and then the new issue is released in the trade? Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's always, people have a difference of opinion in the community about how to release trades. So I like doing all the art first, and that means I just can dump in a ton of bonus material, but the art's done. So the goal's a lot lower. I feel like if you're trying to create art and print trades, which are expensive to print, that your goal could be pretty high. But that's just my opinion.
Like I don't really make the money back in Kickstarter for like the art yet, just because I just use my paychecks and like cry while I do it.
Carrie says she sent pictures of look. It's cute. It's that's Luna Love as she crocheted. Look how
That's
cute
cool.
she is with their Spectra specs. Where's the other one? Wrong way. And Hedwig. Aw. Carrie's really good at crochet. Look at that.
Oh wow.
Mine would look really effed up.
Mine would just be a piece of string. Like,
I would be like
No.
I was looking in two different directions. Like Hedwig is confused. That's cool, Carrie. Thanks for sharing.
That's cool.
So 3 trades, man.
Yeah, and then I
You
like
gotta,
looked up the pricing for like printing.
like you got a printer lined up for that?
Yeah, and I was like, so this is Comics Spring, and then he's like, oh my god, this is so much money. Josh is like, wow, that Kickstarter is gonna be a lot. I was like, yeah,
Yeah.
and I'm like, I don't know how many we should order, but it should be a few.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't usually order like a ton. I usually order like 100 or 200 depending on like how many people back the Kickstarter. I don't order
Yeah.
like 1,000 because I don't have the room for
I
that.
don't have it either.
So,
My husband would kill me if I ordered a pallet of books and they just showed up and he'd be like,
yeah,
where are you putting these? I'd be like, in my bedroom? Like on our bed? Like, I don't know. There's no other place to put them.
yeah, like I got
Back them to the ceiling.
last November, yeah, because they showed up like right before the convention.
Yeah.
Comics Wellspring like sent one box, and I'm like, these are not all the comics I ordered, and I went to go send actually like a voice message, and I like never get mad, so like I'm sending a voice message on Instagram to them, and then I saw another email, and I'm like, okay, the
You're
other
like,
one's
it's
coming
just,
tomorrow.
yeah.
Okay, so I'll just delete this before I say like,
You're like, delete,
that's
delete.
fucked up. But,
Did it just get separate? It was in 2 boxes. Did it just get
yeah, it's
separated
just
upon
like,
delivery? It was the
yeah,
shipping.
it was just weird, and I'm like, where is issue 2 of this? But then the other issue is actually there was like issue 2 of like Chronicles of Horror, but then issue 1 was in the other box, and I'm like, what? Why is that?
Yeah, I would have been worried and upset, especially if it's right before a Comic-Con. Like, where's my
It was the
books?
day before, like the other box came in the day before, and then Dylan got here that day, and then we're like taking all of those like sheets off of the covers, and I'm like, ugh.
Bagging and boarding everything and then packing it up in the car.
Yeah. I'm like, I wish I had like a van or something just so
Yeah.
I could fit everything all the time. Yeah.
Printing is going to be fun this year.
Oh,
Because we just paid our taxes, and of course, printing is something that you can deduct from a business, and that was one of my biggest expenses. Artist pay, paying the artist, and then print charges was the next highest because it was like, because we printed issue 4 and then we printed our trade and then we printed issue 5 all in 2024. It's just how it fell. And so my accountant was just like, well, okay, this is what happened. And I was like, okay. I'm like, guess it's all right for my tax purposes. Spent all the money. Well, such is life.
yeah. Yeah,
Right?
I was looking at other printers, and I was like, Comics Wellspring just is somehow still cheaper than the other ones that I was looking at. And I was like,
Yeah.
but everything's gonna go up.
Yeah. I mean, like I printed mine. ASAP Imagination publishes my trade paperbacks, and they're in the UK. And so they used a British printer. Oh, that was fun. But I mean, like the books turned out great. It was so nerve-wracking to, order books in the UK and have them shipped to the United States. I was like, please be okay. The least amount of distance they have to travel, the better. But holy moly, everything came out just fine. There was no damage. Everything was beautiful. And I think they used Mixum over in the UK. So
I use them for like prints and stuff. And
yeah.
Cool.
So that's in October. You have the last trade for the horror
Yep.
anthology.
And then there's nothing after that. Yeah. And then next.
Well,
and
then you
they-
plan out 2026.
Yeah. And yeah. So then after that last Kickstarter will be our virtual expo. And then after that, we'll just plan
Oh.
out 2026. And then, yep.
I missed your expo this year.
Did you?
Well, 2024. I didn't come to
Oh, yeah, you
anything.
weren't on there.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I
Because
missed it.
Tim was on there like a bunch.
Tim.
He's like, I'll do whatever. I was like, oh, okay.
What's yet? Nothing after October yet? Is that what you're saying, Dustin?
Oh.
There always could be something. I know
Nope.
someone was like, when are you launching issue 7? And I was like, I don't know.
Someone
But
would be like, where's Mittens 4? And I was
Yeah.
like, that's not for a minute. Because Josh now has like a part-time job he's trying to make full-time again. So he's doing that while still doing art. So yeah.
It takes longer. It's hard.
And you're like literally you're the Mittens artist. So like you're not gonna leave me. So
Right. That's when you chain him into a chair in your basement. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll just
Mhm.
go to Michigan, grab him, and I think his wife will be fine with it. And then I'll just
You're
actually,
like, here's
there's a leash that's like for some reason concreted to the ground in my basement. Yeah, I bought the house like that, and I'm like, what? What's going on here?
ah.
Yeah, and then
You're like, oh, perfect.
saw
This
the
is
guy
gonna
that
work
used to
out
live
great.
here. Yeah, the guy that used to live here, he had a drum set down there. I'm like, maybe he had his dog down there with him sometimes.
Possible. He just didn't
He
want the
also had
dog.
a kid, so no.
He didn't want the dog to eat his drum kit, so he changed it up. Good luck and good morning. Coffee. Aw, it's cold. I'm gonna go back to sleep. I feel you, Nam. If it's cold and raining, I'm going back to sleep too. I did that this morning. I felt like I needed to be a burrito for another hour. So some days you just gotta be a burrito. When it's cold and rainy and gross, those are the best days.
Yeah, after I get home from work, I usually just come on the couch and just wrap myself
Be
in
a
a blanket.
burrito.
Yeah.
Mm. So are you going to do like the giant promotional tour like I am when you are launching?
I always ask. Facebook never likes me. And then I'm like, who has a podcast? And then it'll be the same 3 people normally.
Me. I'm always like, you can come on my show.
Yeah, I'm like, oh, I got something going on.
And you're like, I got to book you 6 months in advance, lady.
But yeah, then I saw like a couple other people like, don't like just ask the person like, in Messenger. I was like,
That was Josh.
yeah, but I'm like, dude, but you're always booked.
I wasn't even familiar with Josh. Like I didn't know who he was, didn't know he had a podcast. And so I was like, the whole purpose of me posting that is so that people suggest shows that I'm not aware of. I'm like,
and
so
I'm sorry, I'm like cutting you off.
No, I was just saying, but it worked for me. And so I pushed back when Josh, because I was on Josh's show and he was like, you shouldn't do that. And I was like, it worked great for me. I got 3 or 4 new shows that I've never been on before, just from people recommending them or people telling me that they had podcasts that I wasn't aware. I'm like you, like, don't give people a hard time for trying to push their stuff. He didn't like that.
Yeah, so like I don't know all the podcasts in the world that would want to have me on or whatever, and yeah, so then like I get invited by like the same 3 people usually, and then
we love you. We want you to come back.
And I'm like, okay. But Corissa gave me a list like a year ago.
Did. You got the Corissa list?
I have to find it. It's probably in our Notion, which is our like database app thing that Dylan's like obsessed with. But yeah, like yeah. So
people ask me for my list, and I tell them no. So if she gave that up, that's nice. I tell people what I tell people to do to make their list is to go to YouTube and search Corissa Grant. She's been on so many shows where it's like, okay, and you can get a whole list of shows based off of what she's been on YouTube. And then Actually, there's a list right now in the Facebook group because Lou Pons, our friend here, asked me to post my podcasting schedule. So I put it up in the group. And so there's a lot of other creators that are like, oh, we can get Laurie's list if we go in the group. Why not? I posted it. Go write it down. There's a ton of podcasts out there.
I was like scheduling our podcast, and we're somehow booked till October. And I'm like,
You are?
yeah.
That's amazing.
And I'm like, how? So then
Popular
people would
show.
not. So some people would be like, oh, I have a thing going on in like February. I'm like, oh, you were too.
Next year.
Whoa. But like you could be added to an episode with someone else, and they're like, oh,
Yeah.
okay. Because there's somebody that just asked on Instagram, and I'm like, I think he has one in March. Yeah. And I'm like, well, these people are already on in March, and then we're not free this weekend because we're going to Indie Creator Con, which is in Connecticut, which that'll be like the third time ever I've been to Connecticut. And Dylan is still trying to figure out how to get there, so that's fun. And I'm like, did you figure out your like plane situation yet? And he's like,
Yeah.
because Allegiant doesn't have any flights until like May. And I'm like, oh, well, that's not good.
Oh no. Connecticut seems like everybody would know each other's name there because it's such a small place.
I've only been there for a concert, and then my mom's like friend, like his house. That's like the only times I've ever been to Connecticut.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have no reason to go to Connecticut.
Levi, we all have those. Where you go on a podcast once and you're like, a good fit here. It's like, maybe I won't go on this one again.
Yeah. I've been on a couple that I'm just like, yeah, I don't need to come back.
What are we talking about right now? Like, where am I? What are we doing? Sometimes yeah, but the two I was on last night, Lou, were both very good. So I recommend both Frickin' Figures and Critical Affection. We had a blast. So okay, so podcasts, we got your releases for 2025. You seem pretty organized there. I'm always jealous of people that know, like Corissa, where she's like, I'm going to release on this day, this day, this day, and this day, and this day. And I'm just like, I'm going to release in the next 4 months.
It's like I had enough comics like already done, then I would be like,
well, that's
boom, boom, boom.
Yeah,
but I don't.
That's Corissa.
Yeah, there's this indie comic publisher called Covenant Comics, and I don't know if they're doing much right now, but they actually had a really smart plan, which I wish I just did. And they just got a bunch of comics made, and they like just talk about the whole process and stuff, and then they started just like pumping them out on Kickstarter.
Yeah,
they stopped now. They kind of like lost momentum for a little bit, but
and that to me,
because I wouldn't have lost momentum, I would have kept going. But,
yeah, and that's Carissa too, because even now, if she has like an artist on vacation, or like someone's getting married, someone has a crisis, it doesn't stop her momentum because she's like 6 issues ahead. I just don't have the capital to put in up front. I don't. So I usually get through like 4 pages. What is that? The Greg Moquin? Yeah, your ears must have been burning, Mr. Fishley, because we were talking about you and doing art. We're excited. We're excited to see your artwork. But yeah, so I usually get through the first 4 pages, and then it's like I have to Kickstarter because all the money's gone. So
yeah, I don't usually try to make money back from the art that I pay, but like for Fish's book, I have to make it not back, but I have to make it for the next, if I can, for a second issue with the Kickstarter.
Yeah. So. Because then what happens if you don't make enough to do the next one? You know what I mean? It's like that's I don't know.
Yeah.
It's risky, but you do what you have to do. I mean, everybody has a different way of running their budget, so it works a ton of different ways. So if someone comes at you and says like you have to be 100% done before you launch a Kickstarter, that's not true. If someone says you shouldn't do anything before you launch your Kickstarter, also not true. There's 1,000 ways to run a Kickstarter and run your budget that you can find a way that works for you. Yeah, your ears must have been burning.
I would recommend the thing that I did. I would recommend not doing what I had to do. So when we did Seer Chronicles 1 and 2, like the remastered one, the artist that did issue 2 wasn't able to do issue 1. So then that's why the art looks different. Well, the art looks different anyway for all of them. But so Luke was doing issue 1. So he wasn't doing issue 1. So issue 2 was getting done. And I'm like, well, I want the first one to be remastered because we have a bigger story for that. So then we got Luke because the guy that was the artist for the second one, he couldn't do the first one. And he was just busy with his actual job, and then he runs a comic store and stuff. So I was like, oh, okay. Cool. So then I had to find Luke, and then he's like, I'll do it. And I was like, okay. And then still, I want that to be remastered just because so the art kind of like all looks the same. But some people don't care about that, but I do. So
I know it's so frustrating.
It's my flagship thing. So yeah.
Where you're putting money back into the same story that you've already told.
Like, yeah, but I'm not gonna. It's gonna be probably even more story in the first one. So yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and it's already pretty long. So, but that'll be in the trade. So like it'll all be.
Gotcha.
And then going forward after the 5-issue arc that this first plot arc is for Seer Chronicles, I'm just gonna make all the Seer Chronicles going forward like graphic novels, so I don't have to like deal with the whole artist problem. And I think I might know who I know who's gonna be doing those going forward, as long as he's like still alive and stuff.
What a thing to say.
Yeah.
Like, as long as he doesn't die, it's gonna be this guy. I mean, I wish we could do. I think it was Scout. And I'm not a huge fan of Scout and the way that they run things. I've heard a lot of unfortunate stories from indie creators about Scout. I'm not going to repeat them. Go look it up yourself. But I did like their method where they would release an issue 1. So you could read like a 24-page, get you into the story, and then they will go straight into the trade paperback for the rest. So it's like, if you like, did you like this? Okay, well, here's the rest of it. And then they would produce a trade. But it's just like, like we've talked about, just being able to raise the amount of funds needed to do it as one project is difficult at times. So
yeah,
tempted to just go to GNs too. Takes long. Yeah, but the campaigns do better. Maybe. I don't know. I'm too nervous to, can you imagine? I don't know. 4 times the budget.
Yeah, well, so it would be like technically a continued story because Seer Chronicles, for me, the Seer Chronicles, like it's the next plot arc, but it's continuing right after like where we left off. So, but also you don't need to read the stuff before it, so because
that's always good too.
Yeah, but Fish has work for me. I have work for him. For at least 2 more issues, and then there's gonna be way more stuff. So because he's really fast. So.
Do you ever write for other people's anthologies, Greg?
I try. Nobody cares about me.
Come on.
There's a which like really like annoyed me. There's a guy, he like disappeared off the face of the planet.
What?
Yeah, this Alan. Yeah, I don't give a shit. I'll say his name because he probably doesn't exist anymore. This Alan guy, like he just like he wanted to make a kaiju book, and I was like, oh, that's kind of cool. And then they all like fight in like a WrestleMania type of way, and I was like, oh, that's kind of okay.
Yeah.
So you had to make your own monster and stuff, and I was like, oh, okay. So mine was like a mix of a penguin. I don't even remember, like some penguin, I don't know, penguin duck thing.
Yes, it should be a turkey. Turkeys and geese are terrible birds. They're so mean. Pelicans, They're terrible. Penguins are kind of nice. I don't know.
And then Travis Gibb was also in that. So it was me. It was me, him, and then there was a couple other people.
And this
And
Alan guy just skunked you
then
all.
Alan just never had it made or
Well, I'm
finished
sure
it.
Travis ran him over with his car.
Yeah, he found him, and that's probably why
That's why you can't get to him anymore.
Yeah.
Travis took care of it.
There's just like an empty Dunkin' Donuts cup near his body.
That's his calling card.
Yeah.
Hey, it's Glenn. You're good. You're good, buddy. Nice to see you. I'm glad you're here. We were talking about Travis Gibb running people over with cars and leaving a coffee, Dunkin' Donuts, specifically Dunkin' Donuts cup.
Yeah, Dunkin' Donuts
calling card.
But, yeah, so that never happened. So that the one anthology. Oh no, I'm actually in another anthology, but but yeah, so I was a part of that anthology. It was kaiju something. I don't remember what the full thing was, but like it just never happened. And I'm like, oh,
Yeah.
that sucks. Like I wrote this. I even paid. I'm pretty sure I paid. Yep, I paid my artist Ian to do the 4 pages or whatever it was. And then like it was okay. It was cool. And then I was like, cool. So I'm now going to be in someone's anthology. And then it just never happened. And I'm like, oh, okay. And then Christian Douglas, he was like, you want to be part of mine? I was like, okay. So I did a 4-page story in that, Punk Droid. And my story is like Twilight Zone, like Black Mirror-ish, but the whole thing isn't like that. And
he asked me to do that one too, and he was like, it has to be like all ages, and I was like, I'm out.
Yeah, like it was.
I don't know how to do that.
Like it's really funny because it's like kind of hard for me to do that, even
Hi,
though
Chad.
like, even
Chad
though
says you, Greg Moquin.
Yeah,
sorry. Continue. So you were able you already do YA, so you're good.
Well, so it's still like, so Mittens was like so close to not being that.
Really?
Yeah, because there's a picture in our Google Drive and it says like it's Mittens, but it's a different color. And he's like, shit. Then that's the only word he said, like in the comics. And then Josh's like, if you take this one word out, it's just like kid friendly. I was like, oh, let's just do that then. And then now it's like a fan favorite.
Yeah.
Because now people are like, you're the cat guy. I'm like, I like dogs too. But okay.
I feel like that could be a comic strip where it's just Greg at a Comic-Con table, someone walking up to the table like, it's the cat guy. And then the last page is you going, I like dogs too.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's why there's like pugs in it, because it's actually the 2 pugs that I had as a kid. So, and the one that the slugger, like he does that because that's what he did all the time because he's a pug.
Do that. It's so
funny. So, well, he doesn't do that. It says pug noises, but that's why.
That's what pug noises sound like. Yeah.
So,
what was I gonna say?
But,
Did you?
Yeah,
okay. So, Mittens should swear with like regular vernacular. Like I used to work at a bank, and of course, lots of elderly people they don't like technology, so they like to use cash. So they come in for cash. And I remember this one little old lady, I think she forgot something, and she was like, sugar. And I was like,
oh, I can do that. Yeah.
Sugar. And I was like, that's great. Because we all know what you're trying to say, but it's just something similar. So I was like, you could have Mittens say, oh, sugar, and that would be great.
Funny. Maybe I'll do that, like the issue 4 or something.
It's
be like,
still age appropriate. Pugs sound like sleep apnea. This is accurate.
Yeah.
I thought my stuff was more middle of the road until I realized how much blood there is. Yeah, that's kind of me too, where I'm like, we didn't swear at all. They're like, you killed kids. And I'm like, oh, sorry.
Yeah, when we're at like conventions and like people are looking at our comics on the table, and I'm like, they're like, oh, what's this one? I'm like, this is a cat in space. Do you like cats? And they're like, yeah. And I'm like, okay. And then they're like, what's this? I'm like, this is a horror anthology.
Write down.
I also write murder. And they're like, what? And yeah. And then there's superheroes. But I'm like, yeah, I don't know how I can go from writing a cute cat to this. So
Just gotta do it.
yeah.
It's just, it's like being that actor that's not typecast.
Yeah,
Which
I
is
guess I'm not.
right. You
Yeah.
get to express all your creative ideas equally, which is awesome.
Yeah.
Because I feel like I'm slightly typecast too, where it's like, hey, Laurie, the two anthologies that I did, one was for Big Dog Inc. and it's a Western. So that's how he found me. He's like, oh, you do Westerns, you can do this one. There's no blood, guts, and gore. So sadly, there's no death, dying, destruction. But it is a Western. And then Travis Gibbs, Cthulhu Invades Fairyland, and that one is just straight up dark and demented. And I was like, well, at least I get, it's great. But that's kind of like where I live between that and Path and Psycho Sal. I do a lot of horror, so I am writing something for Terry Parr. I'm super excited about. He's doing Gemini. He does Gemini Force. I'm familiar with Terry. He does the interiors. What's it? Tomorrow Girl for Ben Dunn.
Oh, I know of him.
That, right? Yeah, he's actually local. I run into him at Comic-Cons all the time. And so we did like the whole, we'll trade our first issues. So he got Path and I got Gemini Force. And so we were talking about it. I was like, I write for other people too. And that one's like rockers. They're clones of like Joan Jett and I forget the other one, but they're like 80s rockers, girls in space, hijinks. And it's all short stories. So there's usually 2 stories in an issue. And I was like, this will be a challenge for me. So, but I'm having fun with it. Yeah, I love Terry Parr. He's great.
Cool.
Parents pick up Caw. What's Caw?
It's his other superhero story.
I'll have to. Fish, we need to hang out. You need to come on the show, or I need to come on your show. We've been moving in the same circles long enough. We need to be on each other's show. I told him there's a lot of insides on the outsides and heads pointing in the wrong direction. But if you think about it though, Dog Man is pretty dark in the beginning, right? This man and this dog die and they piece them together like Frankenstein. And this is this book. It just depends on how you do it. See what I mean?
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
The Mighty Caw.
Bloody Bird Barbarian.
Madman.
Yep.
Bloody Bird Barbarian from outer space. He sounds cool.
Yeah.
As long as it wasn't romance, Laurie, I'd back what you do. Thank you. And you won't catch me writing romance. That's not my thing.
Yeah, I don't do that. Like there's slightly that in like superhero stuff sometimes, but like I don't go forward with that. Yeah.
Yeah, like we'll insert relationships into our stories because that makes sense. But like straight up romance, you're not gonna find me doing.
Yeah, like in Night Watch, the first issue, there's like a note and stuff that's like, oh, so he's with someone, but then he's not. So
there's a twist there. I can already sense it. He's writing it to himself. So what you're telling me is this character is insane.
No.
Darn, I thought I had it. Where do you get your inspiration from? You have these 3 very different stories that you write. I mean, like, do you switch between them when you get bored? Like, tell me more about your writing process, Greg. I think it's interesting. Just naughty kink stuff, and Laurie is writing it.
Yeah.
I don't think I have any kink in my stories. Sorry.
It's just hot sauce on people.
Just hot sauce. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I just get in the mood to write a certain story, and then I start writing it. If I am watching too much Dexter, and I'm like, oh, okay. Then I'm gonna start writing more of that serial killer thing.
Just says you do peyote mostly. That gets you in the mood.
Yep. Yeah, I guess. Yeah. So, superhero stuff is easy just because, like, I don't know. I don't even.
Really?
It's really funny because I rarely watch like MCU stuff or any of that. It's really weird because like that's what I write mostly.
Yeah.
Like I was watching Batman like the other night, but like usually the things I put on is just in the background. Oh, Original Sin is awesome. It's actually better than the sequel of what they did like
Oh,
last year.
good. That
to-
sucked.
well,
When
it
they
was like not the great. I don't really I'm not really I don't criticize things that much. Like I'm not Rotten Tomatoes. Like, fucking,
You're
this is
not Tom
terrible.
Hutchinson.
No, I like Beetlejuice. No, but,
Touche.
uh, yeah.
What?
I don't know.
You did?
Ooh.
Dustin, you didn't tell me this. We need to talk about that. Anywho.
Yeah, so I'm
It's better though, because I feel like after they killed, like they murdered the end of that original series. Like that end was so bad. It was so
How
bad
many times did
that
you watch the end? Like, did
I
you
think
watch it more than once?
twice, and it just makes me angry every time I watch that episode where it's just like none of
So
this
I-
makes any fucking sense.
So I had a security job, so like all I did was watch stuff all the time. Besides cameras, like that's my job. Who actually does their job? So
It's funny.
I watched Dexter like so many times on top
Yeah.
of true crime and other stuff, and then I
Okay.
got so paranoid from that. But
That's funny.
yeah, like I actually watched way too much true crime to a point because it was research. What? So, and then I actually like got paranoid one day because of watching too much of that.
Time to take
And
a break.
I was getting home from work and I worked overnight, so I was getting home and I'm just like, what's this dude doing? But he was just at a bus stop across the street from our apartment, and I'm just like, what is this guy doing? But he's not doing anything. I was just thinking, so I'm like just locking the door. So I was like,
Poor
go away.
Greg.
Yeah.
He's like, this guy has been stalking. He's been yeah. What do you call it when they stake out a joint where they're like, he's looking for ways in. He's watching my schedule. He's looking to see what time I come home every day. Dexter
Yeah,
ending upset me.
ending,
Yeah.
actually, I think Dexter could have ended with like I could have probably made it a better ending.
It was terrible, Greg. It was like,
um,
to me, it felt like they were like, hey, we're going to wrap up the season and we need to have a giant twist in it, but we don't know what we're going to do. So we're just going to throw a bunch of shit at a fan and see what sticks to the wall. And that's what they did. It like, there was no fan payoff. There wasn't none of it made sense. This is me too. This is where I was. The Dexter ending upset me. I tried watching the sequel and I was too frustrated and rage quit. And I have not watched the original
Resurrection
thing yet.
is probably going to be good because I don't know. I'm hoping, but Original Sin is like it's pretty good. It's like it makes you think it's Dexter again. So.
I'll give it a try. But after it's like, would you ever go back to the original story of Game of Thrones after they did what they did to the end?
So
See what I mean?
That's the one show I can't ever watch again because it's also maybe because I'm a writer, but I can actually like think of I could like guess twists and stuff before they happen, which kind of sucks. I also guessed the entire plot of the movie Neighbors 2 before I even knew it was existing. So like after the first one was done, I said to my best friend that I was with, I was like, watch, they're gonna make a second one. It's gonna be a sorority. And he's like, oh, okay. Yeah, sure.
There it is.
Like the year
exactly that.
And I was like, oh wow, look at that.
They could have done so much better. But again, it's like when they're ending a long running show, I feel like there's so many people that have opinions about what needs to be done that sometimes none of it gets executed well.
So Game of Thrones, like the ending was it was terrible for one reason because he didn't finish the books. But the directors were too focused on a Star Wars movie that they were never.
Yes. They were like, we already got another job, so we're just gonna quickest ending we could possibly throw together, piss off the fans. Who cares? Just get it done.
I was joking before the last episode came on because we were all at my best friend's house.
Yeah.
So I'm like, watch. Spoiler, by the way. Watch. Yeah. Bran Stark is gonna be.
You're like
the ending guy, and they're like, no, that's not gonna. And then like my best friend Ryan's like, what? Yeah, watch. Like I saw something on Reddit about that. I was like, oh, I don't go on there, but just throwing that out there. Like, watch that be the like ending, and then it was. And I was like, oh, look at that. But
terrible. Nothing was good about that.
I don't know if you've never watched True Blood, but like
I think I started that and I couldn't get into it.
It could have ended 2 seasons before the actual ending.
Yeah.
Because they're like ending, I think, was like Thanksgiving, and it was just them all sitting around at the table outside, like,
Stupid.
and I'm like, that's a weird ending. Like they
But
could have
this is the
ended.
problem with writing for like shows that are on TV. You know what I mean? Where they're like, we've been renewed for another season. It's like we weren't planning on another season, you know? And then you have to like make a convoluted, we didn't have plans for this. And they're like, oh, guess what? We got canceled. So you need to wrap it up in two episodes. And it's like, we had this whole arc planned out. And we have to close up shop in two episodes. Like, it's just not, it doesn't make for good writing. So I think that's ultimately why we are so disappointed in some of these endings, is because either they had no time or they didn't intend it to go that far. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah, like I don't like how Netflix sometimes just like cancel shows when people like them. They didn't cancel it. It was actually the creator that just stopped. The show Mindhunter, like, it's amazing
series. Yeah.
And it just like,
I don't want to do this anymore.
Just like, I don't know. I don't have an idea for like the next season. I'm like, just continue. There's so many people that are killers. Like, what? So,
but I love that series because they're
following BTK.
Yes, they're like real life serial killers that they're bringing to life, right?
Which is really like weird because like, so my serial killer one shot comic that I'm putting out one day, based on a true story now. So
it's based off of Travis Gibbs running people over with his car, leaving Dunkin' Donuts cups. So you're saying Mindhunter, right? And they're BTK.
So that story is like, it's called The Storyteller, and he actually writes in a journal about like what he's about to do to people, and it's really weird because BTK was like what he did to them.
Yeah,
I'm like, oh, I didn't know that any of that happened. That's weird. So I didn't even know anything about him, and then I started watching a bunch of true crime stuff, and then I was like, oh, that's.
Oh, we could have a whole show on that, Zombie. I have my opinions about what they did to that show.
Dead, because I think I'll lose fans if I did.
I mean, we could talk about it. I'm probably with you. I think they did a lot of things wrong.
Never wanted to, so I don't really like zombie, which is funny because like your comic is good. So I don't like.
Well, I don't consider mine.
Yeah,
I mean, it is zombie genre, but they're not. You know what I mean? Like they're not eating people. It's not the same.
Like, so like I don't like zombie stuff. Like I just don't care, except Shaun of the Dead. But
Shaun of the Dead is great. Yeah.
But like I just don't care about zombie stuff. So like I'll never have like a Marvel zombies kind of thing in my
right.
But
that's okay. More for me.
But the episodes I was forced to watch because I was at my friend's house or something.
Yeah.
Of The Walking Dead. The only good episode, I think, is that one girl that's batshit crazy and she thinks zombies are people, and then she gets shot in the head. That's the only good episode in that entire show. And people are like, "Oh, you want to see a kid get killed?" I'm like, "No, that's actually a good episode because she, like, I don't know, something's actually happening."
Was it the little girl that had killed her sister and was waiting for her to come back? Was it that one?
I think
Carol was like, "Look at the flowers."
Yep. Yeah, that
one.
So
yeah, that upset a lot of people.
I'm like, this could win like an Emmy.
Yeah.
The rest of the show is hot garbage. So,
yeah, that's true. Serial killers and women that love them is going to be a Flip City sequence. They're having like a whole art contest for that. Yeah. That's an interesting concept as well when we talk about like true crime and some of these prolific serial killers that are in jail and have like a fan club. It's bizarre.
Yeah. Yeah. And then there's another episode that I was forced to watch, which was
which one? Was it I wasn't Negan, was it?
It's just no. The Beth character.
Beth, yeah.
She
was annoying.
Yes, she is.
I'll finish your sentence for you.
So it's an apocalypse, and she's complaining about I don't know if I should drink or not. Like, it is the apocalypse. I don't think anyone gives two shits if you are drinking or not. You 16, 17-year-old girl. Like, shut the fuck up. Like, why are what? No, why is that a line in that? No, go away. Did she die? I'm hoping, maybe.
Oh yeah, she died.
Awesome. Did
Yeah.
she die by getting stabbed with a whiskey bottle? Because that'd be hilarious.
Think so. I think she got shot. She was captured by a group, was held in a hospital, and they went to go rescue her. And they were like, they were bargaining, negotiating, and they were going to let her go. And as she was being let go, she stabbed their leader. As she was walking out, she was just like this one last fu. She stabbed this lady, and the lady had a gun in her hand, and it went off as she was falling, and she shot Beth. So, the end. That's the end of Beth.
Walking down. Oh yeah, and
Daryl fired the rocket.
And I know that Daryl wasn't an actual character like in the comic. So I used to say to my best friend that like was obsessed with the show for a while until like everyone started falling off of the show. Was I'm like, I hope the next episode that comes up he gets like stabbed or something and he's done. And he's like, I'll kill you. And I'm like, dude, he's not even an actual character.
No, they're attacked. Like people that just watched the show, it was like, if you kill Daryl, we riot. Like they would have left. There was a ton of people that left when Glenn died, even though it was accurate to the comic. When Negan shows up, and I remember in the story, it was like these whispers are there, but it was fucking Rick Grimes that started it, where he went into this, they were sleeping and he took people in and he murdered them while they were sleeping. So he started the war, and then Negan caught a bunch of them, and he was like, I'm going to teach you a lesson so this will never happen again. And he just beat the shit out of Glenn, and he was like, his eye popped out. And they did that in the show, and people were like, we're done with that. I'm like, but this is accurate. I'm like, you can't be upset when they actually do what the story, shows you. They were, it's like they killed an extra character, and I was like, well, I don't know why they did that. Anyway. Yeah. But yeah, that's the one where a ton of people jumped, was when Negan killed him. I had a hard time watching when the Whisperers showed up. The lady, they were wearing the skin of walkers. Yeah. Well, I feel like that was the shtick of Walking Dead, where it's like, first it was Rick finding his family, learning how to navigate in this world. And then it was like every single group that they met of living people had a big bad, and they would escalate, because it was like the governor, and then in the book, like chopped off Rick's hand. That's pretty bad. And then it was like, who came after? It was, I forget. There's a few different groups. And then Negan was like a big bad. And then it's like, how do you up Negan and his group? Then it was like, oh, the Whisperers, they wear skins and they feel like they have like this weird hierarchy. It was like alpha, beta, blah, 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 blah. And they were pretty gnarly because they could infiltrate by taking off the skins, and they were human, right? So they would infiltrate groups and then take them out. That was, yeah, but it was really hard. I think that was hard to show. She don't live, yeah. Negan is cranked to 11 in the comics. Yeah, if you like the character from the show, read the comics are always so much better, And that's one of the things that we fear as creators, where someone was asking me like, hey, when are you calling Netflix so that they can pick up Path of the Pale Rider? And I was like, they would destroy this series. You know what I mean? They would bring in writers, they would change everything, they would change in it. That would be a biggest fear. It's like, what's a high enough dollar amount that you wouldn't care about your own series anymore?
No, I would have to, like at some point in our time as a company, we want to actually like make movies or whatever, like of our stuff. Like we would have people that actually care about the stuff. Like we would have like Ryan Reynolds kind of people that actually care about the thing. And
yeah.
I wouldn't want like some random person that doesn't read a comic or whatever, and they're like, oh, I'm going to be Batman. Like, they would promise you 3 and you give you 4. Yeah.
And the problem is with companies like the big ones like Netflix, they buy the rights to your series. So you are not allowed to produce your IP anymore. They are the one that owns
that's
it.
Why we would probably have our own like production company. But that's like so far from now.
It's so far. But again, it's so much money. And then when you're talking about like doing an anthology and it just never comes out, That's like 90% of Hollywood. They have all these things that are greenlit
like
that
Batgirl.
have problems. Yeah, and exactly. Like people attached. How many times have they tried to redo the new Blade and they have like six different directors and it's not like where is it? You know what I mean? There's so many production things that happen where it's like even with the green light that doesn't guarantee you anything. So I'm just, I don't know. I'm too attached, you know? So it'd have to be like, Greg, I trust you. I know you. Can we make this movie together? I can't share a link. Oh, it's okay. Negan knock
I
scene.
could
Yeah,
definitely
it is.
make like movies of certain people's comics, like Tilt or something. Like I
Yeah.
would definitely be, because like I've read it. So, like I don't know. Like James Gunn actually has people read or they just do it themselves, but they like read the comics of like Superman or whatever. Like
That's what you're supposed to
you should
do.
instead of like
Yeah.
this is how it might be. And I'm like, what? No.
I don't think I can do this. Tommy, you have to read. I know that you're gonna end up in my campaign somewhere, but you have to read where we are in the story. It gets so crazy. When we get through number 7, you'll see what I'm talking about. But it's so wild that I don't even know if someone would read that and be like, I'm out, because it would cost so much money to produce what I'm thinking. We might have to animate it. I think that would work.
Yeah.
Get like the Castlevania treatment. I would love that.
For our Mittens trade Kickstarter, we're actually gonna we're not Josh is gonna like animate all 3 issues, like not completely, but he's gonna animate like the trailers, except the second trailer didn't ever have like an actual animated like trailer. It was just like character kind of thing. But he's gonna make one for that, and he's gonna put it all together so it kind of like makes sense.
I need more animation friends.
Yeah, that's gonna be the trailer for that one at least. So
yeah, I was approached by an animation studio. Really loved. They bought my the guy that was scouting had bought my trade paperback, and they reached out to me and they were like, we would love to animate, the bear chase in issue 1. And I was like, that would be awesome. And I was like, maybe, something real short, like 25 seconds. And then like with the 5-second end cap with like our logo and like, stuff. And I would share the shit out of that. And it was just like, I couldn't get it within a price range that I could afford, in the style I wanted. They were like, we could do AI animation. I was like, no, absolutely not. And then it was like $12,000 to animate it. And I was like, I love you guys and I appreciate your time, but I can't afford that for 25 seconds of animation.
I did some animation in Blender a couple years ago, and I
tried learning Blender. Did it work? Did it turn out okay?
My animation was a hot dog going into like a bun and then ketchup going onto the hot dog. It took me like 2 hours to make a 15-second clip.
See what I mean?
Yeah. So I get why they charge so much.
I get it too. I just wish I could afford it.
Wow. Yeah. Like
that's why I'm like, I need animation friends. It's like, because if you are an up and what do you call it? Up and running, up and like someone that's new and they're looking for things to animate to kind of learn their skills and to practice. Would love to talk
up and coming. Yeah.
Up and coming. That's the word. Brain's still not firing on all of the synapses yet.
There is a girl that we met at a convention that we went to.
Yeah.
Saratoga one. And she came up to our table and she's an artist. And most artists that come up to me, I'm just like, I can't draw, so this is cool. And she like really wanted to do like a comic of ours, and I was like, oh, well, I have to like see what you can do. So
yeah,
but I did, and then so she's going to be doing a one shot of like within our Seer Chronicles stuff. There's the mafias and stuff. Mm-hmm. There's a one shot of that. So she's going to be doing that, and that hopefully will come out like next year, maybe.
Cool.
But it's like around issue 4, so yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah, everything's connected. It just takes forever.
Yeah, Lou. Hey, if you want something to try out, You can use my characters. I'm just saying. Yeah, I know it's terrible. I tried learning Blender. I did the donut thing, the donut tutorial. I didn't get very far.
I did it. I stopped doing it. I did it again. So I kept going back to doing the donut.
Yeah.
And I guess I made it a few times that like Dylan's like, I would eat that donut. Like, well, it's on a computer screen, so you can't. He's like, it looks just like a Simpsons donut. I'm like, that's what it's supposed to look like.
Yeah, that's what it's supposed to look like. Yeah, that's the whole point.
Yeah. For some reason, I'm really good at making food on there. Like, I'm good at cooking, but like I can actually I made a Twinkie on there. And that looked just like, so.
This is interesting too, and I've thought about doing this. Have you thought about doing an audio drama?
He mentioned that in some other person's show or something one time, or like on TikTok or whatever. So I was like, oh, that's a really good idea. And I said that to Dylan. I'm like, we could do like an audio version. I don't know anybody that's like blind or whatever that would want to read my comic.
No, it's not necessarily that. It's just like there's a whole, because we're in like the visual medium. There's audio medium people that just they want to put it on and they want to listen to stuff when they're on the treadmill. They want to put it on in the car when they're driving. You know what I mean? Where you can't use your eyes. And so a lot of times there's a whole group of people that want just audio. And so we could tap into that market by making something, you know what I mean? And if they're like, what is this? This is so good. What's Mittens? And then it pulls them into the comic. So you never know, you know, you could cross promote. I was a badass 3D modeler in the 90s. Yeah, they don't even make that software anymore. Yeah. Send you Walking Dead Negan spinoff short, Laurie. Oh, good. I'll watch that after the show. We're running out of time here. So lots of folks like comics, but are dyslexic too. That's a good point.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I would record my episodes or do something different to kind of enhance the world. You know what I mean?
Yeah. We were gonna do like a commentary thing for Seer Chronicles. I don't know.
Oh.
Maybe he just didn't remember that we were talking about that, because I thought that was gonna be like in a reward tier or something.
Oh, like you and Fish?
Oh no, like me and Dylan. For
okay.
Nightwatch, we could do that too, because like Fish like has videos or whatever of him like doing stuff. So he made a brush. Fish made a brush, a crowd brush for Nightwatch, which we'll probably talk about that when like Nightwatch comes out. He actually made like a brush on Photoshop. So instead of having to draw each person, because he would, he just made a crowd, and then he just made it as a brush and like just brushed it on page. So,
wow, that's cool.
Yeah,
do that.
He has that like on his Patreon and stuff, so like people could like, but yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
I feel like there's stories here, Lou. I have a buddy working on a green zone wrap. I don't know what green zone is. You can download the brush on my Patreon. Cool. Excellent. For free. Super cool. Well, my friends, we're going to wrap this show up. Thank you again to Greg for coming on. And I just want to remind people, we're on this one. Share this tab. Go sign up to be notified for Seer Chronicles. This is launching this month. Here is the linky loo. But if you just type in Seer, I typed in Seer Nova and it's brought up all their stuff. So the Seer Chronicles 1 through 3. Yeah. What's that?
That works too. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, just type in Seer and see what comes up. I don't think I dropped my link. Let me do that. Sorry, guys. I'll give you the short link. If you haven't been to our campaign, go check it out. We're on day 4. Here you go, everybody. So head here. You can watch the video. I can't play it because it's like music is always such a challenge for me. I'm always looking for good music for my videos. And then I actually went to a website where you can download and like pay for the license, and it still triggers copyright where it's like can't be monetized and can't be this and can't be that. And I'm like, what is the point of me paying for a license if I can't use this stupid thing? So I won't be doing that again. So And just to remind you that I'm going to be looking for you to tell me what am I going to do with this Big Jude.
Just a giant standy thing.
I think standy would. What if I made it out of wood? Because I'm doing like wood
Oh.
covers. I could do a wood standy.
Yeah.
Or
Or just find a bear. Just find a bear and stuff it, and then just make it like that.
Yeah. Sounds great. Won't be doing that. Terrified of bears. So, like, that's why he's in the story, man. It's because I'm terrified of bears. So,
yeah.
All right. Tell everybody where they can find you. Remind them that you run a podcast that's booked until October. Tell us all your good stuff, and we'll make sure that they follow along.
Instagram, Blue Sky, YouTube, Twitter, kind of, I guess. Facebook, any social media, Pinterest for some weird reason.
You're on Pinterest? That's awesome.
Yeah,
I'm going to find you now.
Weird random things on there. I get notifications all the time on my phone. It's like, oh, someone liked your pin. Like, I didn't even do anything. Yeah, like any social media thing. Seer Nova Comics. So just SeerNova Comics. We have a podcast, Seer Nova Podcast. You can find that at Spotify, our YouTube channel. The beginning episodes are pretty rough. So, but they're all good. It's mostly Dylan talking about marketing, and how people aren't the greatest at it. And then, yeah, what a real house.
You like my piano? Oh, it's over here. You like my piano?
Yeah, that's where all the comics are. They're inside my piano.
Yeah, that's where I store them. TikTok. It's not a real piano. It's just an extra large long box. And what was that? Say it again.
We're also on TikTok, but they'll only be around maybe for 70 days or 60 something. Unless if it gets bought.
What are you, Seer Nova on there?
Yeah, Seer Nova.
On TikTok? Comics. Are you on Seer Nova on TikTok?
Yep.
Oh, that's been going on this entire show today. It's just been like, ooh, shiny things.
Yeah, like
please continue.
Sometimes if I don't put like podcast clips up from our podcast, and it's usually just random things that I talk about on there, but it's not as I don't do that much. I should, but I just don't. I'm like, who wants to hear me talk?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh. We were talking about this earlier that Greg has resting bitch voice.
Yeah. That's just my voice.
He really is excited about his stuff. You're catching us at the end of the show. Like we're ending in like a minute here. So oh my goodness. The ADHD is wrong with this one. We're having a problem today. Need more or less caffeine, haven't decided. But yeah, please go follow Seer Nova. Please go follow the next Kickstarters that are going to be launching for Greg. He's one of the hardest working comic creators in the biz. And like I said, he does wildly different stories, which is amazing. Young adult with kittens. It's called Mittens in Space. We have the horror anthology, and we have superheroes. So there's something for everybody. You just got to pick which one, and then
caffeine.
Caffeine. I'm giggly. So join us again next week for the Tuesday morning brew. I'll be live tomorrow on Any One World Showcase with a new creator I haven't talked to before. And I believe, yes, we have a Killer Karen scheduled for Friday. It is Vaughn Coleman. So that one's super funny. He did not expect to encounter Karen in the way that he did. So I think I did a good job of catching him off guard. You'll have to tune in and see. Please go back, Path of the Pale Rider. We're going to break some stretch goals, and we are going to, I want to get those scratch and sniff stickers. I really do. So you guys got to help me get there, because you want to know what zombie flesh smells like. Anyway, I love you all. Kiss your babies. Be excellent to each other. We'll see you next week. Bye.
Click on the tube and feel the vibe. Every show you crave right here live. Heroes and villains clash in the night. Madness Comic Network sets it right. Scroll through the list, find what you need. Epic battles and fast-paced speed. From capes to cosmic space delight. Tune in and watch your favorites ignite. On Facebook, share the thrill so grand. On X, the buzz across the land. Madness Comic Network all around. In every episode, joy is found. Uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that button and subscribe. Catch the wave and ride the tide. Join the fun, join the craze. Madness Comic brightens days. New uploads, they never end. Superheroes and their friends catch every twist and every turn. Madness Comic, you will yearn. Stay up to date with every twist. Madness Comic, don't miss a gist. From laughter to tears, every mood. Madness Comic sets the groove. Click that